On this Wednesday, February the 18th, 2026, the Weather Prediction Center has now stated that confidence in a storm developing near the East Coast this weekend is fairly high. Those are their words, not mine. Not fairly high confidence that a storm develops. The uncertainty is in the timing, the track, and the exact impacts, and those details are going to determine whether the Northeast gets a historic snowstorm or watches it slide harmlessly out to sea. 3 global models, 3 different answers. The GFS is showing a 967 millibar bomb cyclone riding up the coast by Sunday with 18 to 24 inches of snow across the Northeast and sustained winds near 70 miles per hour off the coast. The Canadian model agrees with a deep storm and heavy snow potentially exceeding 2 feet. The European deterministic model is the outlier, keeping the system further south and offshore with little to no precipitation for the mid-Atlantic and Northeast. But even the European's own AI model, the ECAIFs, has been consistent in showing a fairly classic nor'easter setup. This is 4 to 5 days away and still a boom or bust situation, but the signal is real and you need to be paying attention. Let me take you through everything happening right now across the country. By the way, if you'd like specific weather forecasts for your region or city, please leave them in the comments. I'll answer them individually as time allows. Also, if you like the video and subscribe to my channel, you'd be very grateful. Now, let's move on. Starting with the potential snowstorm because it has the largest potential impact on the most people. Here is how the 3 models differ. The GFS develops a surface low over the Carolinas on Saturday that rapidly deepens as it rides up the coast. By Sunday afternoon, it is a 967 millibar bomb cyclone producing heavy snow from the mid-Atlantic through New England. The pressure drops from roughly 995 millibars to 967 in about 18 to 24 hours, which is textbook bombogenesis. The GFS shows 18 to 24 inches across portions of the Northeast, with 6 to 8 inches into Pennsylvania and upstate New York, and the Appalachians potentially seeing a foot or 2. Downtown New York City shows around 6 inches on the national blend of models, which averages all the guidance together. The winds on the GFS are frightening, sustained winds of 70 to 80 miles per hour right off the coast of the Northeast. Wind gusts could exceed 80 miles per hour along Nantucket, Cape Cod, Rhode Island, and Long Island. If any of that moves on shore, we are talking widespread power outages, coastal flooding, very high surf, fallen trees, and property damage. The Canadian model is very similar to the GFS. It shows a deep surface low down to 973 millibars by Sunday night into Monday morning, with very heavy snow across Massachusetts, Connecticut, Long Island, and up into Maine. The high-end Canadian model output has shown 24 to 36 inches, though the totals have been volatile between runs, so do not take the top end literally. The European deterministic model is the outlier. Its latest 12Z run from Tuesday afternoon keeps the surface low well offshore of Cape Hatteras by Sunday night into Monday morning. In this scenario, the Northeast sees little to no snow from this system. The storm basically misses. However, the WPC discussion specifically notes that the ECAIFs model, which is the European Center's AI-driven model, has been consistent in showing a fairly classic nor'easter setup. So even within the European modeling suite, there is disagreement. The WPC extended discussion from Tuesday afternoon says it clearly. Confidence in a storm is fairly high. Much of the guidance is close enough to the coast to bring precipitation to the mid-Atlantic and Northeast. But the amounts and type are variable. There has been a continued trend for colder temperatures into Monday and Tuesday in recent model runs, with highs 5 to 15 degrees below normal and the coldest conditions over the Northeast. That cold air in place is critical because it means whatever precipitation falls will likely be snow rather than rain for most of the region. The national blend of models, which is the best average of all guidance, shows a wide swath of 6 to 12 inches across most of Maine, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, New York, and Connecticut, even 6 inches in downtown New York City. Upstate Pennsylvania shows 3 to 6 inches. Upstate Ohio shows 2 to 5 inches. This is not targeting the upper Midwest or the northern plains. This is a Northeast-focused event. Who needs to be watching this most closely? Boston, Providence, Hartford, and the interior Northeast are in the highest probability zone regardless of the exact track. New York City, Long Island, and coastal Connecticut are on the edge where a 50 to 100-mile shift in the track determines whether this is a dusting or a foot of snow. Philadelphia and Baltimore are on the outer fringe. Washington, D.C. likely sees less from this particular storm, but could still see some accumulation depending on the track. Albany, Burlington, Portland, Maine, and the interior mountains of New England are in play across most model solutions. Coastal New England from Cape Cod to Nantucket to the islands faces the added threat of damaging winds and coastal flooding if the GFS solution verifies. Long Island could see significant wind impacts. This is 4 to 5 days out. This is not a hypercast. This is not 15 days out. The models are going to shift, possibly dramatically, over the next 48 hours as more observational data feeds in. But the WPC's language of fairly high confidence in a storm tells you this is not nothing. It is real. The question is just how close it tracks to shore. The reason this system has the potential to explode is the upper-level jet stream pattern. There are two distinct disturbances. One short wave kicks out of the southern stream and sparks the surface low over the Carolinas. Then a second trough ejects from Canada into the upper Midwest and Great Lakes. Where those two streams interact creates tremendous divergence aloft, which lifts the air beneath it, drops the surface pressure, and that is how you get a rapidly intensifying cyclone. The GFS has been trending stronger with this setup over the last 4 model runs, which is notable. Now, before we get to Sunday, there is a lot happening between now and then. A blizzard is raging across the northern plains right now. The surface low is at 983 millibars, which if it were a tropical system would be borderline tropical storm or hurricane intensity. Blizzard warnings remain in effect across Montana, North Dakota, and Minnesota. NWS Duluth has winter storm warnings with up to 15 inches on the North Shore. Grand Forks could top 8 inches. Duluth approaches a foot with lake enhancement. Fargo sees heavy snow with visibility dropping to near zero. International Falls and the Beak of Minnesota are getting hammered. The Upper Peninsula of Michigan faces a dangerous wintry mix. Red flag warnings and high wind warnings are up across the Great Plains. The snow stripe extends into upstate New York and southern New England with 1 to 3 inches. Nothing huge for the Northeast from this system, but a taste of what could come Sunday. The Sierra Nevada continues to get crushed with feet of snow. Snow levels have dropped as low as 1,500 feet, threatening the I-5 grapevine. 6 feet is possible at some elevations with high-end guidance showing 50 to 60-plus inches. Interstate 80 and Highway 50 remain closed or under heavy chain controls. Ridgetop gusts top 100 miles per hour. Lake Tahoe resorts have incredible powder, but upper lifts are closed from wind. Reno faces airport disruptions. The Cascades, Rockies, and Four Corners all continue getting snow from the deep western trough. Denver picks up accumulation from multiple waves. Salt Lake City adds significant totals. Portland and Seattle see continued rain with heavy mountain snow. Record warmth peaks today across the central and eastern United States. Chicago could shatter records with the 60s. Springfield, Illinois hits 67. Columbus reaches the 60s. Des Moines and Omaha continue their record-breaking streak. Kansas City stays in the 70s. Tulsa and Oklahoma City hover near 80. Dallas stays near 80. San Antonio was at 84 earlier this week. Lincoln, Nebraska is in the upper 60s. Sioux Falls hit 64 in February. Even D.C. and Raleigh are feeling well above average. Nashville, Atlanta, Jacksonville, New Orleans, and Houston are all warm and pleasant. The Southeast will see the highest warmth anomalies by Friday, with highs up to 20 degrees above late February averages and overnight lows near 25 degrees above average. But this false spring ends abruptly. The SPC has flagged severe weather for the Ohio Valley tomorrow, with a rare day 4 severe risk. Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Louisville, Evansville, Lexington, Clarksville, and St. Louis are all included. Dew points surge into the upper 50s and lower 60s into Indiana, rare for February. The dew point contrast is extreme with Louisville at 59 degrees Thursday evening, while St. Louis sits at 31. The RRFS model shows supercells east of St. Louis racing into Indiana and Kentucky with tornado potential. Bowling Green, Nashville, Dayton, and Springfield, Illinois are also in the threat zone. Thursday evening into Thursday night is the dangerous window. A 55-degree dew point in Indianapolis in February is the kind of moisture you normally see in late April. If individual supercells develop ahead of the main line, the tornado threat increases significantly. Have a way to receive warnings that will wake you up if necessary. After the severe weather, the cold front crashes through. By the weekend, warm temperatures moderate with slightly above normal conditions confined to the Gulf Coast and Carolinas, while areas to the north trend near to below normal. But the real cold comes Monday and Tuesday, when highs drop 5 to 15 degrees below normal across the eastern United States, with the coldest conditions over the Northeast. That is the same cold air that would turn any precipitation from the coastal storm into all snow for most of the region. This will not be the deadly Arctic outbreak of late January that killed 171 people, but it will feel significantly colder than the record warmth of this week. Charlotte, Raleigh, and Richmond see the front pass with some rain from a band of precipitation setting up across the southeastern United States Saturday, some of which could contain thunderstorms. The bottom line for Wednesday, the WPC says confidence in a storm developing near the East Coast this weekend is fairly high, but the track remains uncertain. The GFS shows a 967 millibar bomb cyclone with 18 to 24 inches and 70-plus mile-per-hour sustained winds. The Canadian agrees. The European is further south. The national blend shows 6 to 12 inches across New England. This is boom or bust, with the track determining everything. Record warmth peaks today. Severe weather threatens the Ohio Valley tomorrow with tornado potential. A blizzard rages across the northern plains, and the Sierra continues getting feet of snow. Every single region of the country has active weather this week. Stay with me for every update, because by tomorrow we should have much better clarity on the weekend storm.